My fellow Americans.
Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
A man holds in his mortal hand the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
One day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
He says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that.
And we're going to be going over the news today, or just current events. Spooky, strange, and weird current events. Welcome to As the World Burns. Strange radioactive anomaly discovered in the Pacific Ocean. This anomaly may be linked to shifts in ocean currents or astrophysical events that took place around 10 million years ago. Beryllium-10 is a rare isotope formed when cosmic rays interact with oxygen and nitrogen in Earth's atmosphere. It reaches the surface through precipitation and gradually accumulates in ocean sediments with a half-life of 1.4 million years. Its decay into boron enables scientists to date geological samples spanning millions of years. Recently, researchers from the Helmholtz, we'll just call it the HZDR, in collaboration with the ANU, detected an unexpected concentration of this radioactive isotope in samples from the Pacific Ocean floor. Their study, published in Nature Communications, analyzed ferromanganese crusts collected from several kilometers below the ocean surface, composed mainly of iron and manganese. These crusts grow slowly over millions of years. To determine their age, the team employed accelerator mass spectrometry, a highly precise technique for detecting beryllium-10. The findings took researchers by surprise. In layers dating back approximately 10 million years, the concentration of beryllium-10 was nearly double the expected levels. To eliminate the possibility of contamination, the team examined additional samples which revealed the same anomaly, confirming that this was a genuine phenomenon. Could be due to alterations in ocean currents. It is known that between 10 and 12 million years ago, the currents near Antarctica underwent drastic changes. This could have affected the distribution of beryllium-10 on the planet, concentrating it especially in the Pacific Ocean, or an astrophysical event. Another possibility is that a nearby supernova temporarily increased the cosmic radiation reaching Earth. Also considered this possibility that our planet passed through a dense interstellar cloud that weakened the protection of the heliosphere, allowing an increase in cosmic radiation.
All the above are true.
I'm gonna go with all the above too. It revolutionized.
Microwaved.
Our planet is turning into a microwave. Honestly,
Turn into like a cheap skillet.
a cheap skillet. I also read another headline recently that even one scratch on like one of those non-stick pans can cause like 10, maybe it's 1,000 microplastic particles to be ingested. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we just got like plastic inside of us, all of us. And we're just walking around living with it.
We got the plastic in us. Now we just need like the wires and the metal components to become cyborgs.
Yes. We need cybernetics. Let's see. Trump says we're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on drug commercials so kids don't take them. What do you think of that?
Drugs?
Yeah, it worked out, really well the past 50 years. We've been having drug commercials. So.
Trump does drugs, doesn't he?
Does he?
Like, who's he kidding?
I mean, I know Elon does drugs. It's well known that he does ketamine and, rumor has it he does other things. But does Trump do drugs?
Adrenochrome?
I mean, maybe. Potentially all rich people do.
Why can't we get adrenochrome from animals?
I don't know. Don't they say, like, in order to... I don't know, maybe it doesn't affect us the same way it would coming from an animal. But also, like, don't they say when you're extracting the adrenochrome from like a person, you need to like torture them and like put them through like intense amount of like torture in order to like get the max amount of like adrenochrome from them. I don't know, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I read it somewhere. But so yeah,
Yeah, you totally didn't do that. You read it somewhere.
I did not. No human sacrifice.
Good.
But I will say, on the subject of that, Hunter S. Thompson did mention it a lot in his books, and whether that was bullshit or not, you know, on the subject of spending millions of dollars on anti-drug commercials, hundreds of millions on anti-drug commercials.
Johnny.
John, oh, good old Johnny. Let's see. Al
His
Robert.
adrenochrome.
Yeah. You think he does adrenochrome in real life?
Oh.
You know, Johnny.
I'm talking about Johnny Gosch.
Is that who you're talking about?
I'm talking about the mystery of who took Johnny.
What is that?
It's a missing child case. It was like one of the first on milk cartons or something. Missing children on cartons.
Oh, that's how that got started?
I think he was like the first or second one.
Huh.
But yeah, it was just like a crazy mystery. And his mom like has all these crazy parts to it where she's like, nah, like I met him. Johnny came back to me like 20 years later. And he's got this going on. It's all conspiracy.
So what does she think happened to Johnny?
I think that you should look into this, and then we should do a whole episode on it. Because I could definitely talk along with you, but I don't have all the info right now.
Yeah. I'll make a section of that. That almost sounds like the plot of Changeling a little bit. Here's one I was thinking we could talk about instead of reading, because I read it and it's kind of like not dumb, but it's not from the like best source. I think it's a source from a source. So it's interesting. And I can just kind of sum it up too.
Go for it.
Let's see. Lab-grown brain thinks it's a butterfly. Proof we're in a simulation. So basically, like, what the article was talking about was how they were able to, if I'm not mistaken, take stem cells, and from that they were able to generate like little synapses that were able to like attach itself to a simulation of a butterfly that was like floating inside of a simulation, and they were able to basically teach. What is it?
How?
I don't know. It's, I guess, like some kind of, they mention like cybernetics, basically, like a lot of stuff to do with like Elon Musk's Neuralink and stuff like that. And they said that I think it was a Swiss lab, if I'm not mistaken. And they pretty much said that they were able to convince these neurons to just act like a butterfly, like float around and like do butterfly things, which is kind of wild. Paul Giamatti to star as Art Bell in upcoming feature film. That should be pretty good. Because
That'd be great.
I mean, I really can't picture Paul Giamatti as Art Bell, but I just want there to be an Art Bell movie. So, I guess, you know, you win some, you lose some, right?
What do you think should have been Art Bell?
I mean, he wasn't like the most charismatic guy. Well, I mean, like in person, talking to him, he was a very like nerdy, charismatic guy. So I think you do need somebody who like captures the nerdy charisma. And I think Paul Giamatti kinda like has that.
John Mulaney would have been a great one.
John Mulaney would have been awesome as Art Bell, actually.
Give him some glasses.
Yeah, that would have. I don't know who's
Have him hunch
producing.
over in his chair and just start like
Smoking
talking
cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's that would be an awesome like idea. John Mulaney.
But you need somebody with the voice, and he doesn't have the voice.
Yeah, but he does voices pretty good, right? Isn't he pretty good with voices? Or like he
Probably.
does. I thought I've seen like some of his stand up, and he at least has like some range with voice.
Oh, Bill Hader could do it, huh?
Bill Hader would wicked do a good job with that. And
He's got everything that John Mulaney has, but he's what we're looking for.
yeah, he fits the profile more because like he's kind of a weird guy. And he can like go into like kind of real weird territory with like stuff like Barry or like, you know, his SNL stuff, or he can just be like a normal weird guy like in Hot Rod. I think he could do Art Bell fantastic. He has good range too. I think the SNL guys, even like, I don't know, I haven't really watched the later seasons, but a lot of the people that have just come out of SNL have just like great range. That just comes with comedy, though. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, though. Bill Hader would be perfect as Art Bell, and he would get the voice down. He would get like the personality down. He would get all of that. Let's see. Did you hear about like the FBI, like supposedly like some whistleblowers said that they were deleting like Jeffrey Epstein like documents and stuff like that?
I heard recently that they were going to release all that Jeffrey Epstein stuff, and then they just didn't.
Well, so they apparently are going to release it in phases, according to what I have seen and read. But like a lot of the stuff that they released in phase one, literally like the entire pages are just blacked out. So it almost makes like no sense why they would even like release it. It's almost like
Crazy,
a troll.
man.
It's almost like a troll. And like some of the
That's just not
information,
right.
yeah, and some of the information that's blacked out, you can find like on old articles and stuff like that at the time, like when he got arrested and stuff like back in like 2013 or like when like news was breaking out like that he like all this was happening. Like you can actually find like the stuff that they blacked out like out there. It's kind of crazy. But that's just in like old news articles. But it's like it's wild, and I forgot what her name is. Bondi, I think is her name. I think is she the Attorney General? She said that there was like missing paperwork that wasn't like supplied, and that she found out about it like through like a different source or something like that, and she like told Kash Patel to like look into it and basically like, hey, like, where are these missing documents? Like, get on it. That's kind of crazy. Like, and what if she didn't say that? Like, she could have just, like, kept that information to herself and, you know, who knows what's going to happen to her. But it's kind of crazy. Who knows what's going to happen with any of this, honestly, because, like, I think everybody's going to get protected. I think it's kind of telling.
They released the names. It's kind of like the names in the court case that's happening right now with Diddy, where it's like, are they ever going to let us know all the people involved? Probably not, because it's just going to be endless court cases, and they can't tell us all the information to it.
Yeah, probably not. And it's like there's a lot of people that like got interviewed about like attending Diddy parties, and they're just like they don't want to talk about it, or they didn't even want to talk about it before like all this was happening. Like Ashton Kutcher.
Or like you can just like look at a celebrity now, and you could just be like, whoa, you have a lot of pressure on you right now, don't you?
Oh,
you're on the list.
Wicked. Like even like the Barack Obama literally did a video with Diddy. Like literally.
Oh, jeez.
Like I don't know what, like a video where they're just like partying and like talking into like a camera, but it's like that's kind of famous. It's like how can, you know, why would you implicate yourself with anyone like this? These guys must have at least had some inkling of an idea of what was happening behind the scenes, like for years, even if it was investigations that were going on, because they wouldn't have.
I think he was just like his own Diddy. His own Diddy. He was his own Epstein.
I
Like
guess
he was
so, but like that
an Epstein in America that was doing it like in the hip hop industry.
I agree with that, but that would also mean that there were a lot of like signs going on, and like for like a president or even multiple presidents to be like implicated in something like that, it's kind of, I don't know if it's telling, but it's like, you know, you should probably explain yourself. Like You know, if
I think
you're
that if they release the Epstein list, then there's gonna be people on the list that like turn on America, or because we hate them.
that would be crazy, honestly, if we got people that like what do you mean like turned on America? Like how Ellen's like going to like Italy or something like that?
I don't like that. Yeah,
You
but
think
like
people are
just
just gonna like cut out
like
like Roman Polanski?
what if on the list is Vladimir Putin? Now the whole world is gonna be like, oh, Vladimir Putin's a fucking disgusting pedophile, also.
I mean
And
that
then he's gonna be like, well, fuck the world, fuck all of you guys.
I
That's
I don't think that
insane.
like faked or like misinformation when
Yeah,
he would be like, no, that didn't happen. They're just trying, it would be more of a
but the
mess.
fact that it's like I'm
Mess.
saying, if it was true and it was leaked, he could like still play it that way, but he would need to like destroy the source of this information.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But I feel like that about anybody on that list. Like, if they just released a full list, totally non-redacted, every name clearly visible, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be
They would never
there's
do
gonna be
that.
people that like there's gonna be well-respected people that are gonna like all of a sudden we're gonna have like 1,000. What was the guy? Jerry Saville.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah, the guy who
All of a
had
sudden we have
children from him,
1,000 ones of those guys.
which is kind of crazy because if you think about it too, like a lot of the people that are like supposedly implicated in this are like really famous, like people that you'd be like, okay, that almost makes sense. Some of them
I
not
mean,
really.
fucking the Prince Andrew shit is like a nice little glimpse into like the level of power that's like at stake.
Oh, 100%. But let me ask you this: what do you think of? Remember when Ricky Gervais did like a thing in the Oscars where he made a joke about Epstein, and like a whole bunch of people were like laughing uncomfortably, but then it like pans over to Tom Hanks and he's just not laughing at all and just grilling Ricky Gervais. Like, what do you think of that? That's kind of wild, right? Like, cause
Is that the source? Is it the source of Tom Hanks's? Is that where that came from, or did that exist before that?
no, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it existed before that because I remember even before that, like seeing stuff on like Reddit conspiracy and stuff like that, like talking about stuff like that, like Tom Hanks being
So a
on
lot
like
of
the list. Chris
I would
Tucker
be
apparently too.
so shocked, but then I don't know how shocked I would be actually. Like I don't know.
For Tom Hanks specifically, or just like anybody
Tom
in general?
Hanks.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about that, and like it almost makes sense to me, especially if you like. Have you ever like I'm not saying he is. This is all allegedly, also just to clarify. But also
Saying
like,
it would make sense.
yeah, what is it?
You're just saying it would make total sense.
Oh no, I'm saying like, there could be dots that could connect, and I'm also like I could be fabricating all of this, and this could all just be wrong. Not fabrication, but just wrong. Because I'm just this is a theory, but I remember reading about like the Hanks kids talking about like growing up, and especially Chet Hanks. I remember seeing like an interview from him, and like you could think that like he's just like a boisterous guy because he is. Like if you listen or watch him, he's literally just like he's a lot. But he's interesting, and he's kind of like he's almost like an eye into Hollywood, like, or just elitism in general, not even Hollywood, just like rich kid elitism. And I think he would even agree with that. Like, I mean, he's earned a lot of things himself, like he's earned like a lot of fame himself. But like I think, he would agree that like a lot of his fame comes from like the fact that he is Tom Hanks' kid. But he talked about like how like Tom Hanks was always like really like, I don't know, just oddly strict in weird ways, and was just always like kind of just like nerve wracked and stuff. I would probably have to read direct quotes, but like it always seemed like Tom Hanks had like kind of a dark side from what I could see. And some guy that plays like that kind of like America's sweetheart and like everything, he kind of could be like, harboring a dark side, but who knows?
Whoa.
Yeah,
Is all I have to say.
yeah, could be. But allegedly, all that.
Yeah.
Even the stuff about Chet Hanks talking about his dad. I remember he talked about his dad, but I forgot what he said. But I'm pretty sure it was like that he was strict and shit.
I think another big thing with the list, the Jeffrey Epstein list.
Yep.
I think that I think it's gonna have some names of people that like nobody even knows who they are, and then they're gonna look into them and be like, why is this person on the Jeffrey Epstein list? And then you're gonna find out these people are like secret elites that have just been laying low
Oh,
and
I
just can
think
do whatever they want because of it.
I think you can already see like a lot of stuff like that too. Like if you look, like there's a lot of probably like bankers and stuff like that that's on the list. Rothschild and Co. Actually bailed out Donald Trump actually, and true story, the guy that helped bail out Donald Trump, Wilbur Ross, ended up being like one of the cabinet picks for his first administration. But this was also a guy that like Wilbur Ross. I'm not sure if there's any other like times that they ever met, but Jeffrey Epstein actually like attended a dinner with Wilbur Ross, and I think even Elon Musk was at this same like dinner. True story. Crazy.
Yeah, man, it gets filthy.
It does. It's like it's a big club and you ain't in it, right? That's what they say. I don't know. It's wild. This whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. I've been saying though for a while that nothing's gonna come of it. Like, at least not in the short term. Like, you're not gonna get anything. Like,
I think something's gonna come of it. I think especially if nothing comes of it, something bad's gonna come of it. Where like
you think people are gonna
people
be
are gonna
pissed?
be really pissed,
I don't know.
really pissed.
I'm not saying
The
anything
world's
about.
elites are essentially still like medieval
Yeah, but
monarchs and medieval lords where they can just do whatever they want to the peasants and
did
get
you
away
see
with it.
what? Did you see what the Department of Justice GOP like posted on their like official Twitter page or whatever? Did
No.
you? They posted official Epstein files being released today, and then they posted a link, right? And you know what the link went to, dude? I swear to
Oh, was it
God,
the Rickroll?
yeah. Isn't that crazy? I
Yeah,
think
that's
I th-
horrible.
I think they like if that's not a really cruel joke, that's almost telling of the attitude of like the elites towards like you know the commoners, I guess you could say. I guess that's what they would say too. But like that's like their attitude is like ha ha ha, like you think you're gonna get this in full? Well, Rickroll. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think anything's gonna come of it, like I said, but who knows? Bunch of redacted files. Let's see. Miami shooting. We have thousands of tourists flock to see Etna eruption blocking rescue services. That's fun. Imagine that, like a bunch of people just blocking the rescue services because they want to see a volcano erupt. See, Mitch McConnell steps down, won't seek re-election in 2026, marking end of an era. Wow, good. Trump finally comes out and says exactly what he's been dying to say all along, that he's the king. What do you think about Trump saying he's a king?
Bad. I think it's not good.
I don't think it's a good sign. Let's see. Oh, here's another not very good sign. 1.1 million bee colonies died this winter. Race is on to learn why. Cool. This winter, the race is on to learn why. So yeah, 1 million bee colonies died this winter. Wow, that sucks. If the bees die, we're all dead.
I don't understand why bees are dying off, but that's my problem.
Well, I think it has to do with plants dying off too. Like
Why don't we just have like an underground supply of these things?
I mean, eventually we're gonna have to get to the point where we probably have to artificially like pollinate things, like basically like do what bees do, but like ourselves.
Oh,
And
the
we
bees.
yeah, instead of like the bees, because the bees are gonna die off eventually, and that sucks. But that's gonna eventually happen. And when that happens, like we're gonna have to like nut up or shut up really quickly because our entire ecosystem will literally just be dead. Like it'll take a couple years, or not even maybe just a couple cycles, yeah, and then just death. Our entire planet is just done.
I still don't understand why they're dying off. Like, why can't we just put them all somewhere safe and
This is why I think a lot of them are dying off. So a lot of them are going and like we're spraying pesticides and all these like weed killers on plants and stuff like that. And a lot of the bees are
can't we
going.
just like take the bees that we have and put them down into a big hole inside the ground and have like artificial light and like just have plants underground?
That sounds like a beautiful, beautiful dream.
Like, it sounds very possible.
It does. I don't know if Elon's gonna tackle that with his boring company yet, but that would be interesting if they already had like an underground oasis of bees already, and we just don't know about it. Or
I don't know how we can't just save a species if we're humans. Like, why can't we do that?
because we end up not wanting to save the species, we end up. I feel like a lot of like humans almost like they fetishize the end of species. Not even humans, like in particular, like particular people, but like humans as a species. And it's gone back like years and years, and only recently have we like actually like started to like understand that like every piece of the planet is like a working part, and if even one species or anything just like dies, then the whole ecosystem gets thrown out of whack, which is what happens. I think we're only recently realizing that. So like the human race has always kind of before this taken pride in the hunt, and I feel like they've always gone out of their way to push like that hunt to like the point where extinction it happens.
Game of Thrones, the Lannisters, the High Rock is where they're from,
Mm-hmm.
and there used to be mythical lions in that area, and then they hunted them all, and they're all gone now.
Those poor Game of Thrones lions.
Right?
I mean, there's a lot of things that have just like I mean, we're trying to figure out cloning, and we're trying to like clone woolly mammoths right now. That's pretty nuts. If we figure
Why
out
can't we clone like 4 billion bees?
why can't we clone 4 billion bees? Honestly, that might cloning insects might be a good idea.
They want us to start eating insects, right?
Yeah, that is something that people say, right? We're gonna be doing that soon. I guess it's better than
Snowpiercer.
Yeah, well, I was thinking like Soylent Green, but I was thinking like that's better than Soylent Green, I guess. So,
I was actually just watching part of Snowpiercer,
they eat
and
bugs in it.
I was thinking that like that's what's gonna happen, especially when it comes to the Epstein list.
What that a
The
bunch of
Diddy stuff, the Epstein stuff, and like if just nobody gets in trouble for it, people are gonna be like, why are we just letting the people who rule the world just toy with us?
you think like every single city is gonna become Philadelphia after they win the Super Bowl?
That would be. I don't know if exactly that. I think it's just. I think there's gonna be more joined efforts to pull off some insane things, to
Okay,
find out some insane things.
let me rephrase that then. Do you think it's gonna be like if the Eagles lost the Super Bowl? I think
Oh,
that's
I
more
don't know
accurate.
football. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. They just go crazy
American football.
yeah. No, I got you. Um, they just every time either they win or lose, they end up rioting a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit. I think that's what would happen to America is we would just have like a little bit of riots here and there.
I mean, I think we're kind of used to riots now, so I think it's very possible riots will happen. But like I said, I think maybe a new flame is lit in terms of like people trying to fight like remember when WikiLeaks and Anonymous were blowing up, and
Oh yeah.
that seemed like, and it was a pretty strong thing, but now I think it's going to be something else, and I think there's going to be a lot more of them, and I think it's going to be a lot of different groups of people trying to do the right thing, taking matters in their own hands. You know, Game of Thrones, the Brotherhood without banners. Continue.
Oh, I gotcha. Ghostly glow of nuclear power station detected in water 150 miles away. I did read that one, and it's kind of interesting, but it could be like a bunch of different things. It might not be a nuclear power station. Let's see. Elon Musk calls for retired air traffic controllers to return as planes crash and near collision surge. Wow, that didn't last too long. Let's see.
What do you think's been going on with all the planes crashing? What's going on with that?
I don't know. That's weird. I mean, it was weird that Boeing was like caught, like, taking care of a lot of whistleblowers, you know, against their consent. And I feel like maybe that has something to do with it, because I did hear a few of them have been like Boeing planes, but like, who's to say?
Never want to get on a plane ever again.
Yeah, I never wanted to get on a plane in general, which kind of sucks because now this makes me want to like get less on a plane, if that makes sense. Like, cause I hate heights and I hate planes in general. So like, I don't know, just the entire idea of like getting on a plane now just seems like very like, yeah, exactly. Like, what the hell am I gonna do? Like, I almost want to, if I end up moving somewhere, I almost want to like drive across like wherever I am, just to get there instead of like taking a plane. Just seems like a better bet. Let's see. Well, I don't know what that would be though. Like, maybe it has something to do with the drones. The drone situation was kind of crazy. Like, and we've talked about this like before off air, like the drones and everything like that. You want to talk about like give a little brief discussion about that?
Drones is a weapon of a word. And they're using that weapon to like snuff out the terms UFO and UAP when it comes to this whole thing that just happened.
So, I mean,
And
I
they
think,
purposely used drones, flooded the air with drones,
yep.
and then the actual UAPs that were flying around and were interacting with the drones, and those things just kind of came and freaked everybody out and left, and the entire coverage of it in the media is just calling them drones. And then now people can just go, well, we know about drones. What's the big deal?
Yeah, and especially since now they're saying they were FAA approved, even though Cory Booker mentioned that they weren't FAA approved.
Yeah, they came out and said that all the drones were just privately manned. They weren't even ours. And then there's a bunch of bullshit about these drones being out looking. They're us looking for a nuke on the East Coast. They're looking for a nuke somewhere with these drones. And it's like
So
there's
here's
people coming out with there's people telling us that they're filming these orbs and these things that are not drones
so
interacting with actual drones.
here's the thing with
And then
that nuclear conspiracy theory though, is like I remember seeing on TV one of the like congressman or a senator mentioned that like there was like some nuclear material that was broken into and like stolen around the exact same time, and that they could have been looking for the source at that time for something like that. Now I'm not saying that's what it was, because I'm more with you on everything. I think you know that. But
I think that
just to play devil's
I think a
advocate.
lot of drones. I think there's like an American drone army that we just got like a taste of. That they're like, all right, just roll out the first wave of drones, and like, it's literally just to have drone be the thing that's like the hot button word that everybody's saying. Like, oh, did you see all the drones? Oh, attack of the drones. Oh, invasion of the drones. And then they're like, well, yeah, there's a lot of drones. We live in we're in the future now. Like everybody's got drones.
Well, we're
But it's
also
not that.
signing in an Iron Dome into law now too. We're like going to build an Iron Dome around the United States, which I think personally the drones might have had something to do with that too. Like the actual drones that we were seeing, the government drones, I think that they were preparing for an Iron Dome because Trump's been talking about it for the past year. And I think if you think about it, everything that he's done so far, he's been preparing for a while, including stuff that Elon Musk has been doing, and supposedly they've even been drilling in Ableton, Texas, like to try and like put in their underground. I think we talked about this, to put in their underground like servers and stuff like that.
There's already like a whole setup underground.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like they've already had everything set up underground, but that's because I think they've been drilling and stuff since like the summer. And if you look around Ableton, like Texas, like where like the servers and stuff were gonna go up, around July in 2024, they experienced a massive amount of earthquakes. And what that could have been is like fracking, because I'm pretty sure like there's a lot of fracking in that area, but it could have also been like underground like explosions and like in order to drill around, like moving like earth, stuff just caves in and all of a sudden it just starts shaking and boom, that's what you got. Because they've never experienced like a magnitude of that many like earthquakes at once, like in that time frame.
Is that like even a fault line?
I don't think so, but it could be. Not the San Andreas fault line. I don't know if that goes to Texas, but if I'm not mistaken, it is West Texas, so that could also be like it. But they even said that they haven't like gotten this many like earthquakes in like 100 years. That it's like kind of crazy that this like happened, but it just kind of got swept under the rug, and I feel like that happened. Like they were just just digging. And the Iron Dome thing, Trump's been literally talking about that. Like, he talked about that before he, like, the thing happened to him with his ear. And then he talked about that, before that, he talked about it after. And he literally talks about, like, he signed an Iron Dome into, existence. Like, that's actually a thing that's going to be, like, happening now. So I think that was just a lot of the government drones were prepped for that. I think it was cover up for a lot of the UAPs because we've been seeing, I remember in November and even like parts of October, but like especially in November towards the middle and beginning, even right before the drone showed up, we were seeing so many like UAP and like UFO and just like different aerial phenomenon that we couldn't explain in like airports and just all around the world. And then all of a sudden the like government drones show up and this happens. Yeah. I don't know. I think Iron Dome, though. As the world burns.
Brought to you in part by
My co-host, the avatar of the horn deity,
brought to you in part by
gods.
Right. You know how Mr. Beast is Mr. Beast?
What is it?
You know Mr. Beast?
Yeah, what about him?
You should be Mr. Host.
I am just the host.
Yeah, but I'm gonna call you Mr. Host sometimes.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
It's gonna catch on. People are gonna start calling you Mr. Host.
This is an excerpt from Art Bell's show in 1997.
Line, you're on the air. Hello. Hello, Art.
Yes.
Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time
Classic. Yeah.
Well,
I know this.
let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not.
Area 51.
That's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running a country.
You can't spend a lot of time on the phone, so give us something quick.
Okay. Okay. What we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be.
Pause it.
They have infiltrated.
You know what the earlier incarnation of the space program is?
I wonder what that is. I wonder if it's the Nazi era.
I actually think it's the Jack Parsons stuff. It's like the bomb squad.
Where they were
like
practicing the occult.
Yeah, the Thelemites, yeah. I think that because like fucking the thing that Crowley said he saw was like a gray alien.
Yeah.
I think
So
that
you think that's the extra dimensional beings this guy's talking about?
Well, I definitely think that that's what he's referring to. But also, this is how old is this video? Like, people talk about aliens being interdimensional beings and like them lying to us about that. Extra dimensional, interdimensional, extra dimensional. What are they, like outside of dimensions? That would just make them gods. And at that point, like, we're helpless.
I mean, kinda. I mean, maybe we are.
I like to think that they're more like they're still powerful and scary, but like I have this feeling that like we're something too. You know what I mean? We're not helpless. Like, we got something going for us.
I don't know. I think we are pretty helpless in the grand scheme of things. Just the average person can, do a lot, but they can do very little in the.
I think that like if it's all coming back down to beings like this, like all the stories that told us about these beings, they also kind of tell you that like there's something we can do. There's like getting the better of them. There's tricks to it. There's rules still.
Are there rules?
I believe so. Like a genie in the bottle, right? And where the origin of that comes from with jinn and like trapping a jinn. It's kind of like a cursed object, right? Or like a Dybbuk box. You know, Dybbuk boxes.
Just a bunch of insanity.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Like, we were talking about cursed objects the other day. A genie in a bottle would very much be a cursed object. Just like a jinn living inside of a bottle that doesn't want to be there. But I think that like things like that may be possible if we're talking about beings like if beings like that do turn out to be real. I'm gonna start trusting the old folktales about them and try them out.
I mean, you got a lot to to pick from. There's a lot of worldly folktales to go through.
Like I told you, I'd focus on the Jinn stories, the fairy stories, stuff like that. Native American stories. I would focus on those.
What about the ancient Mesopotamian gods?
It's a good question. I think if anything, that's like a race of people that came here and they are extraterrestrial. They are from somewhere else, and maybe they started us. But...
is an extraterrestrial?
Huh?
Do you think Baal is extraterrestrial?
I don't know because I think like the pantheon for those gods is like crazy. They're not all from a different planet, right?
No, I mean, I guess not. What do you think of Moloch?
I don't know enough about Moloch. I just know him as like a funny name for an evil god.
Oh, that's just a bunch of insanity.
That's the Bohemian Grove god, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The one that supposedly Jeffrey Epstein has like an altar on his island or something.
Yeah, I mean, I fucking believe it.
Yeah, I fucking believe it too.
I think, man, I was trying to tell you that like the shit that I'm starting to realize is possible, at least even just possible, And I'm just some fucking guy who figured it out and like proved it to myself.
You've got it all figured out.
No, I don't, but I'm just saying that like there's people who do have way more of it figured out or like have way more of an idea of it, or way more of a practice of it. And like I think it's foolish to think that like I think it's foolish for somebody to be like, "Oh, you think evil magic is involved? Well, you're an idiot." It's I think we're going to look back and feel really bad about that.
Oh, that's just a bunch of insanity.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, I wish there weren't evil mages controlling the world. Wouldn't that be easy?
Flying saucers, Captain, are still a rumor.
I'm gonna pop off. You keep instigating me. I'm gonna tell all the secrets.
I'm just hitting a couple of samples, and you just start to
No,
go
that's
off
great.
about like deep government stuff.
Dude, I'm telling you, like the thing with the Jack Parsons thing, right? The proto NASA, proto space program. Those guys were all deep into the occult. They heavily believed it. They were doing what they were doing was a part of their great work, their great esoteric work, and like
They're great work. I see what you did there.
it's not just that there were people making rockets who also believed in some wacky shit. They were making rockets directly because of their wacky shit, and I think that the fact that like NASA still does these weird, creepy, esoteric little things and little motifs and little nods to certain things with every little mission that they do, with the names and with like the weird things that they bring into space. I think that the weird timing of everything that they do stuff. It's very ritualistic. I think it's directly tied into its origin, and I think that deep at the bottom of it all is like like them pretty much saying like, no, this is what it is. Like we're not just respecting the people who founded this. We're not just like doing what they did. It's like we're doing the same great work for the same reason, and we just don't know the full secret to what that is.
Like how they named that laser the Helios laser, and Helios like means sun or something like that.
Yeah, Helios is the Roman sun god,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
I think it is.
It's is it not? You know? Yeah, that's just part of it.
But if you see any more flying saucers, will you tell them to pick another house to buzz?
Oh, forget about the flying saucers. They're up there.
They're up there.
Forget about them.
All right. You want to finish this extra dimensional video?
What about the list of topics you had the other day? We never finished that, right?
No, we didn't. But I wanted to play this as just like a fun little,
Yeah.
mess around. But all right, let me get that list of topics out. Let me just finish this real quick.
Created a lot of
That's so
a lot of
sad.
aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51.
Frightened.
That's
sad.
No, I'm saying like he is sad. Like
the
this
government
is a
knows
sad guy.
about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Yes, sir.
I feel like that's like people constantly look at that as like an end goal of the Illuminati. It's like, oh, like they're gonna cull us. They're gonna do a mass extinction. But like I really feel like that that's just kind of like I think that's just a casual tool though. Like that's less of a goal and more just like a quick tool. You know what I mean?
I guess so.
It's like a tool that like civilizations have always used, where it's like, all right, just let the masses die off and we'll be safe and we'll regrow.
I feel like what that guy was warning against was potential disaster that the elite know about, but they're just not going to be able to stop or
No,
prevent.
absolutely, absolutely.
And
He,
it's not
he literally
necessarily.
said that they want. He said this, that they want to kill us off so that the
In
people who
some
remain
way,
are much more
something knocked
easily
us off
controlled,
the air,
right?
and we're on a backup system now.
I guess
The government or
I don't know. I read a
No.
a conspiracy.
I can't hear you.
Well, did you hear? Now you tell me because you were listening.
that was awful.
I read a conspiracy theory recently that was pretty interesting. That was it was from 2016, and it was from a deleted profile. You had to go back in order to actually see
Wayback Machine.
Yeah. In order to actually see what this said. And it said that 22 years ago, this guy, his dad went to, I guess, in the side of a mountain, and he took him to it, and he was like a really young kid, and I guess it was like an underground city, he said, and it basically it was a way to basically it was a way to survive a coming chaos or destruction that he said that was going to be a result of a celestial event, he said. And what he said was that, and this was, keep in mind, this was October 7th, this post happened, 2016. He said, in exactly 3 years and 3 months, there's going to be a major event that's going to restructure our planet. It's not going to destroy the planet, but it's going to restructure it. And he said that it's pretty much going to, a few years down the line, lead to another event that is a celestial event that completely just wipes out the planet. And he said that the rich are preparing and making bunkers in order to basically survive this. And they have an underground city the size of New York that they're basically trying to get the elite population to go there, and then the ultra elite, like the rich of the world, are gonna go to Mars, he said. But he said that October 7th, right? You know what happened 3 years and 3 months from October 7th? Oh, I'm sorry.
October 7th?
It was 20 October 7, 2016. It was 3 months, 3 years, he said, from there. A major event that's going to restructure the earth is going to happen. 3 months and 3 months after
took office?
No, 3 years and 3 months after that was January 2020, when COVID really just ramped up and happened. So maybe that guy kind of knew something. Who knows?
COVID is going to cause a celestial event?
No, he said that it's going to cause a major restructuring of the planet, and then a few years down the line after COVID, it's going to there's going to be a celestial event that'll wipe out the planet, basically.
Paradise is the show about America's elite, ultra rich, the oligarchy, whatever you want to call it. They secretly, spearheaded by this one woman with massive trauma issues and fear, but also a billionaire. She just became a billionaire, and she's in charge of everything. But we know that people have been in charge for a lot longer who would do this. But the whole point is that they invest in this underground bunker the size of a city. They call it Paradise. They hire this psychologist woman to handpick all the best people from America to come live in Paradise and survive, and pretty much decide who lives and who dies. They play that off pretty strangely, but that woman that picks everybody is just kind of too cool and too rational, and just kind of it's odd that they wouldn't have at least a committee decide, It's weird that they would just be like, oh, yeah, she decides. She's a psychologist, so she knows. I mean, maybe she's not. Maybe it was a sociologist or something. She's just somebody who thinks about things and is like, I know the right thing. I know the right answer all the time. But we follow a Secret Service agent that was also handpicked by her to be shown to the president as one of his like top candidates to be like his right hand man, the guy who constantly standing beside him who would take the bullet. And it's all about that guy in this secret underground city living their life. Everybody else in the world is dead.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So like basically like that theory.
You get glimpses exactly. Except you find out. I won't spoil it because it's interesting, but you're the kind of guy who's just gonna. I will say this right now. Spoiler alert. I'm gonna spoil this to him. I'm gonna tell the host everything because he doesn't care. He's gonna spoil himself later if he cares enough to look it up.
That is very accurate.
So the president gets, and it's a huge mystery, and there's all these like dead ends, like this doesn't make sense, but then like other weird shit's going on. But he also secretly hated the president because he blames the president for the death of his wife because she didn't make it onto the plane. She was supposed to go, but she just couldn't make it. It is infuriating how little he tried to get his wife to go with him, but I could go off about that for a while. Mm-hmm. He hates the president, but he dies and he realizes, well, actually the president was also my best friend, so I'm like secretly sad about it. But he's investigating the murder. He immediately is just like, yeah, it's that rich ass woman. It's her. It's definitely her. I'm gonna take her down. She started this. She's killing people. She's evil. And he's right. Along the way, you find out that the outside world isn't destroyed. They keep hinting at like what's killing the world, what's going to happen to the world. At one point, they show you I'm pretty sure it's the Washington Monument flooded. So you just see like the top part of it, which looks like a thin pyramid sticking out of like this huge ocean. And then there's like pollution and waste floating in the ocean all around the Washington Monument.
So the
you just
world's
get a quick
flooded?
shot of that. So that's what I don't know. They show you that, but then they reveal that people actually did survive. And that the guys, dude, the whole time we're watching this show, I'm saying out loud, his wife is alive, and it's going to be so stupid. His wife is definitely alive. Classic twist. So they do it. It hits as much as you would expect, but they explain it well enough where you're like, okay, so yeah, she's alive. It makes sense why she's alive now. Now it makes sense, straight up.
That's funny.
Yeah, but it gives like a lot of these elements that we're interested in, but it's like from a point of view where like it's from like a really weird point of view. Like you could imagine some people who support this idea, like, yeah, we got to build paradise. We need this. We need paradise to get built because we need to protect the president and our world's elite to run the world. It's odd. We'll see how the show goes further than that.
All right.
Yeah. The people outside survive. There's like, God, it's not even that much time. Like it's not Fallout where it's a whole new world. Things are going to be drastically different, but it's like, I think it's just been a few years.
Sounds pretty good.
No, it's like on TV, but you can watch it on Hulu, I think. I think we watch it on Hulu.
It sounds like that guy that wrote that story was like preparing to write that show.
Well, that show came out a few years after COVID, and it's almost like two things. Like it maybe this is a tease at what is to come. You know, while I'm watching that, I'm constantly feeling like, wow, they're just kind of like revealing this, hinting at it all the time. This is one of the big ones. They're really just like prepping all the people who watch this to be like, yeah, this is normal. Get ready for this. But yeah, it could also just be that whatever that crazy dude was grasping at and saying like this is gonna happen, like he was grasping at something, but it like a prophecy in fiction. It's never exactly the way you see it. Like you see something happening, but almost all of it's like metaphor or something.
He said that the elites knew what was happening and that his dad was contracted to be there just because He was like a builder, and he had like high clearance.
Well, that's what I like the was it Phil Schneider? What was the guy who went into the underground base and started
Oh yeah,
lighting the aliens up?
Dolce.
It's the same story where it's
think
like, dude, that guy has a crazy story. It's awesome. He straight up says like, "Yep, I was going down," and I forgot. I should watch it again. His whole explanation, but essentially he goes down this elevator, and he goes like way down, and when the doors open up, he just immediately sees an alien, and like there's other people around interacting with the alien, and they're just acting nonchalant, and he starts freaking the fuck out, and he just starts blasting aliens, and then the aliens fight back and like burn off his hand, part of his hand.
That's nuts.
Yep. So it's not like somebody told him what happened. Like, he was there.
Yeah.
He was actively involved.
He was actively involved.
He was just a contractor. He had clearance because he was working on these bases. He just never saw that part of it, or maybe they started using it and they didn't. I don't know. I'd like to believe that a mistake like that wouldn't happen, but it actually makes a lot of sense that mistakes like these happen. Like this shit's probably happening all the time, so mistakes are gonna happen all the time at such a ratio to the amount of times it actually happens.
All right.
Every time
Honestly,
somebody sees a spaceship, it's like, yeah, you think it's so crazy. First, it's like so crazy because there's not enough evidence, and now there's all this evidence. So like, yeah, no, it's so crazy. There's all these UFOs flying. We don't have evidence, and it's also like, if these people are so advanced, if these aliens are so advanced, and they're flying around in spaceships, and they can control mass conspiracies that span the globe and just rule over us, if they can do that, then how do we keep seeing them? How do they keep fucking up? How do they crash? All this shit, right? But just imagine that every time we've seen one, it's been doing its thing and like just getting away and not being seen thousands of times more than that. And that we're just seeing the quick fuck ups. They seem like a lot to us, and they are. But that's just because like these are things that are just zooming over us all the time.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely true. What do you call it? I think a lot of these experiences happen so quickly too that a lot of people aren't even able to maybe articulate what's happening when it's happening until it's really like happened, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like when they spot a UFO or something crazy happens.
Yeah, you know the whole the trickster thing, the trickster element they call it, and that like it's UFOs, but also with ghosts and just any paranormal experience. There's always some complete weirdness, just some silly ass weirdness involved.
Yeah, like weird vibe.
Yeah, and like the new UFO footage that came out, that was like all the legit whistleblowers were saying, "Yep, this is real footage. This is real footage," and then they drop it, and then everybody roasts it. People come out on the internet saying this is clearly fake, and in my mind, I'm looking at it, I'm like, of course it looks like a fucking egg. That's the goofy part about it. It's like, how are you gonna explain this? Just like bulbous white massive egg, like it. As soon as I saw that it was an egg, and I saw people making fun of it and calling it fake, I was like, that's the trickster element doing its job right there, making you feel like it's foolish.
That's actually one of the news articles I saved too, was about the egg.
I know, you told me.
Where is it? Paul Giamatti.
The amount of people I saw just like making fun of it when they never talk about this stuff, and they're just like I need to shit on this. I need to show why this is so stupid, why this is so fake. I don't know.
Where is the egg?
I have a clear, vivid image of it in my mind, just like the night vision, the fucking long rope thing that looks like it's like a thing on a stick just moving around, but it's because it's like a long, thick ass harness rope, and apparently. I forgot the size he said it was, but it's massive. Like, it looks small, but that egg is massive, and it's hanging from a helicopter or some kind of air vehicle.
Egg-shaped UFO.
Yeah.
Pentagon bombshell announcement.
And that's a crash and retrieval. That's them. That's our people transporting a giant egg UFO.
From the Daily Mail. The Pentagon has revealed that it is now investigating claims made by a government contractor that he retrieved a crashed egg-shaped UFO.
Yeah.
Jake Barber
Those
came out as a
contractors
whistleblower
did
in
it.
January, saying he piloted helicopters during secret missions to collect alien technology. Speaking to News Nation, Barber said he flew 150 feet above an egg-shaped object with no engine or thermal signatures. I saw an egg, a white egg, the pilot explained. It's inconsistent with anything I had ever seen before, Barber said in January. Now the U.S. Department of Defense has confirmed it is looking into the case. It's the latest report of UAPs. The Pentagon admits they're actively investigating and adding this case to 21 others.
Another interesting about this is that I'm leaning, like, I'm just with the assumption that this is legit, because I mostly trust the disclosure whistleblower thing that's happening right now. I kind of trust it. There's plenty of people talking about UFOs and aliens I don't trust. So it's not like I just believe any of this, but I do trust scientists and free thinkers and people who are whistleblowing. Not just the government telling us stuff, but people going against the government to tell us stuff. But they could have picked anything. They could have picked anything that didn't look like an egg. You know?
It is pretty funny that the egg was the thing that they decided to like find and report
Why
on.
would they want it to look like an egg? Why would they want it to? Why would they want people to not like?
Too.
Obviously, I could imagine. There people might think this whole video is fake to make you think it's fake, to make you think the whole thing's fake. But it seems pretty legit. That's helicopter footage, and that's a rope hanging from a helicopter, and it's a giant harness hanging down, wrapping around a big egg-shaped thing.
Yeah, it looks pretty legit.
That's not like some tiny hyper-realistic G.I. Joe toy setup on a carpet with an egg in this like very detailed harness, military-grade harness, but the size of like a G.I. Joe figure. That's not what's happening. Well, also what's interesting about it is these contractors, right? Like this guy, just remember, he's talking about flying in a helicopter. They get this footage from the helicopter's camera. But imagine the people who are like on the ground floor with this thing that like set the harness up or whatever. Like I want to hear about the person who walked up to this thing and maybe touched it.
I feel like the issue with that is we're probably not going to hear about him because this one guy was a whistleblower. So that would mean the other guys would have to whistleblow, right?
Yeah, those guys are probably all like dedicated, getting paid very well to do their job and know how dangerous it would be to go against their company.
And ask no questions.
Yeah. I keep imagining, whenever I think contractor, I keep thinking they're like military, like operations people, and like they got guns, and maybe they probably did, but every time I think that, I just imagine them walking up to this egg. In the video, you just see like the camera from the bottom of a helicopter aiming down in like on the shot of where the harness and the rope is hanging from, so that you can see the thing that's hanging.
Soldiers, though. I thought I remember seeing a soldier.
Right. Maybe I didn't see that part of the video. Maybe I didn't see a long enough clip of it. I just remember seeing it like hanging and then like kind of like they're like moving it a little bit and it kind of like moves to the side.
Here's an interesting news article. Humans glow in visible light. AI brain decoder can read a person's thoughts with just a quick brain scan and almost no training. That's scary. Jack the Ripper's identity revealed 130 years later through DNA match.
So yeah, tell me about that one. Tell me about that one, because I would love to know the definitive truth.
All right.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Vice.com. We now know the identity of one of the most famous serial killers, Jack the Ripper. The man who terrorized and mutilated London women in 1888 had long been unknown until a historian recently unearthed one of the most sought-after mysteries. Thanks to a shawl that Russell Edwards came in possession of, DNA was able to be extracted and used to determine that Jack the Ripper was a man named Aaron Kosminski. The discovery has since been 100% confirmed according to the Daily Mail. Well, if they say it's obviously confirmed. Edwards hired a team to provide certainty on the DNA match before announcing his findings. This particular person was a Polish immigrant who worked as a barber upon moving to London. He was 23 years old when he went on his killing spree and was actually a suspect at one point during the investigation. He eventually died in a mental institute in 1919. Wow. Edwards had some help from Kosminski's oldest brother's great-great-granddaughter who provided a DNA sample that was able to be matched with that of the shawl. The clothing article was bought by Edwards nearly 20 years prior when he learned that it had been at the site of one of the Jack the Ripper's murders. Discovering the identity of this fabled killer may not seem all that important at this point, besides attaching an actual person to the pseudonym that has become entrained in pop culture. As one of the great-great-great-granddaughters of one of the victims, Catherine Eddowes, shared with the Daily Mail that it provides closure. Having the real person leak...
I think it's great. I think if that's true, as soon as they told me how he died and what happened to him, it just completely shattered this, like, boogeyman idea I had of him. I was like, oh... yeah, he's a crazy person who was going to end up on the street and or just in a mental institution because he couldn't survive on his own because he was just too crazy to live.
That makes sense.
And he died in it makes sense. You know what I mean? It wasn't some guy who was ultra wealthy and H.H. Holmes. It wasn't that type of situation.
Yeah, that was a crazy story. The murder house.
Yeah. This wasn't the Batman of murder.
He was just some random vigilante.
Yeah, he wasn't a vigilante.
If anything. No, I meant in the comparison of Batman. It was some random guy that went on a psycho spree.
Exactly. So he's somebody Batman would have just casually beat up on a Tuesday night.
Batman would have casually beat up.
It was he's just a crazy guy, and it was just the crime solving wasn't good enough to just catch this guy who was just so he's probably just out on the street all the time, just walking around, traveling, and it's kind of hard to pinpoint somebody who's never rooted down anywhere.
Yeah, actively in one place. Here's an interesting story. And tell me if you've heard about this one. Whale swallows man in Chile. Did you hear about that?
Oh man, well he shouldn't have been swimming around in that chili. He wouldn't look so delicious.
that was a good one.
That was just right there, dude.
That was just right there. Oh, what do you think of that? That's crazy. And apparently the whale just spit him back up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, he didn't die.
A great story.
He got swallowed by the whale, and apparently whale...
That guy's going to write a book now.
It's crazy. The whale just, regurgitated him and just went... that's nuts. Imagine being that guy and experiencing that. And his father, I think, was in, another boat and just recording it. And I think he just recorded what happened. And all he could do was just, be like, oh, my God. What was his name? Now I gotta go into the article.
think anybody listening can see where I'm going with this.
I don't see where you're going with this, but they might be a lot smarter than me. Rafter is briefly swallowed by whale in Chile as his father films. That's crazy. Paddling in the Strait of Magellan, Adrian Samankis. Where were you going with this?
I was hoping his name was Noah.
Oh, or Pinocchio.
That'd be a long shot.
That'd be a long shot. Not really. I'm sure someone's name could be Pinocchio. Hey, Pinocchio, what's up, buddy? My buddy Pinocchio.
My name is Pinocchio Martin, so I'm running for city council.
His name is Pinocchio. His friends just call him Chio.
Yo,
Chio, what
not
up?
Kio. Not Pino.
His dad's name's Geppetto.
Geppetto is probably the name that's around.
Yeah, probably. In Italy, not Chile. But that seems to be Mr. Semenka's father caught the whole thing on video. I felt something hit me from behind. All this happened in a second. Something dark blue or white enveloped me and a slimy texture brushed my face. Wow. Mr. Semenka said in an interview on Thursday night. Then it closed completely and I started to sink.
How do you not have this video?
Expecting an impact.
Video, dude?
But instead, maybe I'll play it during the thing. I don't know. Instead, I felt as if I was surrounded by water. I realized that I was in something's mouth and I had been eaten. After a second or so, he said, I began to feel the life jacket pulling me up, and then suddenly I was out again. The whale's just like, nah, that tastes pretty bad. Later. That's pretty great.
He was like, as soon as it happened, he just started shitting himself and pissing himself, and the whale's like, oh god, what the fuck, dude?
He's like, I gotta make myself as gross as possible so this does not continue. Let's see. Air Force jets, Area 51 top secret UFO Nevada classified. What's that all about?
Sounds like a whole bunch of UFO mumbo jumbo.
It does sound like a whole bunch of UFO mumbo jumbo, but you know, who knows? Maybe it's something. It is from
what was the title?
ExpressUS.com. 3 U.S. Air Force jets make unusual trips to top secret Area 51 in Nevada. Okay.
About 3 jets that went to Area 51, and we don't know why they went there.
Speculation is growing over the highly classified nature of Area 51, especially as top secret government files could be able to be declassified.
Like paparazzi. Paparazzi for the military. They're like, oh, wait, they're flying. Where'd they go? Oh, shit, 2 jets just showed up. They're just snapping pictures and just talking about it.
Where are they going? Why are they there?
It's paparazzi.
3 U.S. It's like TMZ for the government. The 3 U.S. Air Force jets made trips to the top secret Area 51 in the Nevada desert on Wednesday. I love how they had.
Like if like a big limo was like showing up to like some basketball team's practice, and then like 2 guys with their towels over their heads start walking into the gym, and people are like, wait, who's showing up? Who's practicing with the team? Oh, new player on the team, like something like that.
According to flight tracking data, so this was probably got flight radar or something like that. The planes known as Janet Fleet are usually responsible for flying contractor employees, Department of Defense staff, and military personnel. Well, that makes sense. The 3 planes departed from Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas, about 18 miles from Area 51. I didn't know that was that close to Area 51. Janet 33 left the runway at 7:09 a.m. ET and landed at 7:24 a.m., while Janet 32 departed from Las Vegas at 9:38 a.m., arriving at 9:56 a.m. Finally, Janet 46 took off at 2:11 p.m. and touched down in the same area 18 minutes later. The name Janet stands for Joint Air Network for Employee Transportation, or just another existent terminal. The entire fleet consists of 6 Boeing 737 jets. Well, those guys better watch out then if they're flying Boeing.
Yeah. Grenades with wings.
Yeah, I hear these days the Boeing doesn't have good track record. No pun intended.
Boeing just announced that their new jets will be powered by nuclear fusion. It's the world they saw when they first discovered nuclear. They're like, damn, everything's going to be running on this.
Isn't it amazing that Boeing had, supposedly gotten alien technology and they turned into such a shitty company? Like, Lockheed Martin got alien technology and they really ran with it. But Boeing was like, you know what? Let's be the shitty ones.
Well, something tells me that these planes that we're flying in, that we're allowed to ride in, are not don't have any alien technology in them.
No, I agree, but they have to implement something from like good technology into their planes, or else like what are they doing? I don't know.
It'd be as simple as Boeing owns a piece of a UFO or owns a UFO, has no idea what to do with it, but they get to be like, yeah, I have this, and I'll let you guys use this technology, and you guys, like, your scientists can work on it. You guys just keep giving us money. And that's why Boeing, such a shitty plane making company, just is the most successful.
I think Boeing scientists need some of this next article. It's lesswrong.com, already sounding great. It's the article is, I don't even really feel like reading this whole thing because this is long, but significantly enhancing adult intelligence with gene editing may be possible. Here's the too long didn't read version. Or they said there is a too long didn't read version.
Give me your synopsis. Tell me what you think it's about.
I think it's about gene editing and enhancing intelligence, and it's a good way to make super babies in the future and basically get like geniuses.
Future.
Yeah, now and in the future. I mean, we can't get genius
Right
babies now.
Yeah, we do. We have tons of genius babies.
We have 9 months to create a genius baby.
I swear, like, the whole idiocracy thing is like being pushed on us, and they're trying to make us dumb. Because in spite of that, I think every year kids are actually born smarter and smarter, and I think that like there's more child geniuses now than ever.
I think you're right, but I think part of it comes with the fact that we have like the entirety of like human intelligence in the palm of our hands.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like we literally have like, you used to have to go to a library in order to be like a smart kid and spend a little bit more time at the library. Now you just got to like surf the web in the right areas, and then you can like develop like 20 different skills. You can learn Latin if you feel like it, or like 20 other languages. You can become like a savant. You can become some kind of like music wizard. You can become like a movie file. You can become like so many different things now.
There's also like a lot of kids that just are like graduating college at 7 or 10.
Is that a thing, or that's crazy?
There's kids who graduate college like early on. There's child geniuses, man.
I know there's that one kid who he's supposedly like a child genius, and he created like a 0-point energy at like a wicked young age or something like that. And he said that, what is it?
And he died?
Well, no, he said that that CERN activated and that we entered like an alternate dimension. I'm actually gonna play that because I feel like that would be okay to play.
What does that matter? Why would that stop him from creating more 0-point energy?
It wouldn't. It's just like a thing that
Where's my 0-point energy then, dude?
It's just something that he, like, I guess, observed.
Like, but where's that 0-point energy he was just talking about? He was like, yeah, I made that when I was a kid. All right, then do it right now, please. Please.
Wait,
I don't get it.
Hold on. Let me play this.
It's still a kid. He didn't grow up. He's working on that 0-point energy right now, probably.
You're still stuck on this 0-point energy.
Simpler way.
Versus infinite parallel universes constantly being created is literally flow of reality and time as we know it.
The world's most powerful particle accelerator, the Large Hadron Collider, will reopen today after 3 years of being shut down for improvements.
Just want to say also that this video is Max Laughlin, CERN is not what you think. And, I guess this kid's name is Max Laughlin, so something to keep in mind. Honestly, I don't even feel like playing that because I'm probably going to have to cut that shit up and stuff and edit it. But, yeah, this kid thinks that CERN is not what you think. That's what he says.
The way he talks, it's like he understands how CERN works. He's just saying that, like, so, like, it's like with the AI thing, where the people who work on this shit, they get crazy about it too. Like, there's probably people who created CERN or work at CERN who are like, yeah, we're opening up portals. We're good. Like, I think that's a quote from one of the people there, and then like that got used by a lot of people who freaked out about it. But there's other people who look at it. This kid, if anything, if he's actually a genius, he's probably looking at it scientifically, like looking at the actual data, being like, this might open up a portal. This might, or not a portal, but this might shift us into another reality. However the fuck that works. But supposedly he knows.
Could have already shifted us into an alternate reality.
Maybe he shifted us in a realm. I've never had any proof of the paranormal or like any strange experiences until like the last within the last 10 years.
I've only ever had one thing that I can say definitively is completely unexplainable that happened to me and happened to somebody else at the same time. That's the only reason why I can explain it. Or not explain it, but like why I think that that's a thing.
Yeah. I think it's all becoming more common now, and I think that not just that, but like the other stuff I was talking about, you know, the things that we can do.
Yeah.
I think that it's easier now. Maybe I think it's more. I don't know. I feel like we used to live in a world where this was impossible, and now we live in a world where it's possible. But then I know that in the past there's people doing this stuff, so maybe like we keep shifting around, you know.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I know there's a lot of people there. I know a person in particular who doesn't really believe in the paranormal, but he's experienced like incredibly odd things that have happened. Like he says that in this this particular area where it's pretty famously like haunted and UFOs are found, that he was driving along and this monkey thing crossed the road. Yeah, odd. And then there was another one where he was out on the like a lake, same area, and like all the water was still, and it just suddenly got like really like crazy wind, like, and then lights like over like the top of the lake happened, and it was crazy little stories like that. But he's like a very level-headed and pragmatic guy.
Yeah.
I've only ever experienced one thing, but it was never an alien thing. I don't even know what to call it.
You had like somebody might casually call it more of like a ghost thing, but it's creepy paranormal.
What,
creepy
the thing that
paranormal.
I experienced?
Yeah, a doppelganger.
I was a few years ago. I was up at I was next door, and I'm with a friend, and we're on the back of his truck, and we're doing some yard work, and I see person 2 who was with person 1 up in up in our house. And I see them both, what I think is both of them walking out. And all of a sudden I see them walk like past a picket fence. And then as they pass the picket fence, I see just person 2. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, that's strange. And we both were commenting on it. We're like, where is person 1? And all of a sudden, person 2, like, there was nobody behind me. So we're like talking about how we both seen somebody. It was kind of blurry, but we clearly seen like a person like behind person 2. So nothing like that. So we start like thinking that maybe they're playing like a joke on us. So we drive the truck, and we get back there, and we see there's nobody behind the fence, and she's up in the house just minding her own business, doing whatever. And it looks different than what we thought we saw. It was just a weird situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that could be in horror. That could be like in a ghost horror movie. But it also doesn't have to be a ghost.
It was odd. It was probably like circa 2018, maybe. And I will say, you know, that might not have even been a ghost situation. That could have been like what we're talking about, like the CERN. Because I know like CERN was at like a really big, like, it was operating at a big capacity in 2018. I think especially the summer of 2018, which is when this is happening.
Cranked up in 2018.
Well, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look it up, but I don't know. It was just an odd situation. But I looked this up too.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I looked this. I looked something up called the double in the Encyclopedia of Paranormal and Mystical Experiences. And one situation that I thought was interesting was when I saw this person walking behind. They were clearly walking very robotically and like methodically. And when I read the paranormal thing about like the double, it mentioned that often doubles will walk robotically and like methodically. It like specifically said that. And that was like often how I would describe how that like was happening. So maybe that's
trying hard to look like a human.
Maybe, I don't know. It was odd. It was a spooky situation, and whenever I try to bring this up to my friend, he never wants to talk about it. Like, he clearly it spooked him, I guess, and he does not want to talk about it. For me, it makes me, what happened? It was an unexplained event in my life. Yeah, and it's like I've always wanted to experience like UFOs and like stuff like that, like Bigfoot, for instance. Like I've always wanted to experience things that I thought would be kind of like, I don't know, wild, and like things that seem like far within the realm of like the physical. And to experience something that would be considered like metaphysical is kind of like, whoa, maybe that's what I needed, because like maybe if I experienced aliens, it would be like, okay, this just reinforces my cognitive bias. But if I experience something that's outside the realm of the physical, it's basically like, hey, you don't know what's out there and what's happening truly. And that is truly the case. Like I after that incident, I don't know what reality is. I don't know if I'm in a simulation or if all of this is just all in my head. Like who knows? It's all up for debate after something like that happens, because you truly experience the unnatural.
Yeah. I honestly, I've only had like one strange thing happen to me, and I was a young kid when that happened, and that was very like ghost-like to me. And I actually forgot about it. I remember when I remembered it, and I realized like, whoa. It was when I was a little kid, and I always had insomnia. I was not clinically diagnosed insomnia or whatever, just I could not go to sleep for the fucking life of me. Like I really wanted to, but I just couldn't. To the point where my parents would get mad at me because I would just be awake, and they know I need to sleep. So they're like, all right, you got school, like stop. But they couldn't get mad at me. They couldn't like get me in trouble for not sleeping. It was just I should have been on medication to help me with it, but I never was. But one night I was just like kind of in and out of sleep, and I think I heard my dad coming, so I kind of like started to pretend to be sleeping. So I kept my eyes shut really closely, but I could still peek through them. And then I just when I like opened I think I closed my eyes and then like peeked them open. When I opened them, I saw this like shadow figure, and it was very like angular, so it looked like it was a shadow cast on the wall, but it was like very dark silhouette, and it was like a very tall person with like super exaggerated shoulders. So like the body kind of got a little bit wider and wider into these sharp shoulders, and then a shorter head with like a black fedora, but just like a cartoon shadow version of this. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny is I feel like I saw the same
Batman
thing when I
shadow.
was like 5. Like, it's funny that you describe it exactly like that, because I feel like I literally seen that exact same thing.
When that happened to me,
Like,
I thought it was my
to a
dad.
T. The fedora thing and everything.
I thought it was I had no idea why I thought it was my dad, but I thought it was my dad until I was like 16 years old. I remember just thinking about it randomly when I was like an older teenager, and it clicked. I was like, my dad's never worn a hat like that in his life. He would never do that. That doesn't make any sense at all. And I started thinking like, well, who the fuck was in the house? Maybe it was a ghost, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Then, the Hackman now is a thing.
So I was actually going to say that's what I just found, the Hackman.
Yeah, a lot of people did. A lot of people have like crazy Hackman stories. I don't know how real any of them are, but like it's kind of crazy that you and I apparently just have these very quick glimpses of Hackman in our life and just kind of accepted it. Again, like it's almost like my brain just like told me like that's your dad. Hide. Don't let him know you're awake, but that's your dad. And it's not like that was weird. I would hide from my dad so he wouldn't know I was awake. Like I would hide sleeping so he wouldn't get mad at me. So that checks out. But it just didn't look like my dad at all.
So mine was like a similar situation, but not. Like it wasn't. It was a shadow person, like with a fedora. But what happened was, it was at night. It was with a nightlight, and it was almost like a figure was cast on the wall, and the shadow was coming from like nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. But it was like also dark shadow. So it's not like it was just clearly a shadow. but it had
Well,
like
like
the
you could
features of a shadow, the
clearly
cartoonish
yeah.
characteristics of a shadow, and like how like when a shadow
Well, you
bends on a
yeah.
wall, like the proportions kind of get a little weird. That's why it looked like it had these weird sharp shoulders. It looked like a fucking
Exactly.
Beetlejuice character or something. Like I don't know.
I guess now you could say that that was also, I guess, a paranormal thing that happened to me. There was also one other thing that happened that I thought was kind of weird, but that could be explained as I guess like so I one time when I was in high school and I was home alone, I was walking away from a cabinet and I got into the next room and the cabinet shut. And I don't even remember like shutting the cabinet like in the first place, but like it took such a long time for the cabinet to even shut that it made me even wonder if I had even like touched it. And I guess that's like another situation where like I was alone, so I have no idea if that like actually happened, but who knows?
When
But the
things,
thing,
I was gonna.
yeah,
How old were you when that happened?
when that happened, it was like 18, 17, something like that.
That one thing I told you is the only paranormal thing that's ever happened to me up until I started dabbling in the occult. know if that's exactly what's gonna happen, but like just like parts of it, like maybe we're not gonna fully just conjoin into one world, or just maybe like we're more closely tapped in, we're more adjacent to something like that. So now it's easier for it to pass over.
We got here. All right. What do you think of what do you think of Kanye West and his Super Bowl ad that he ran? Did you hear about that?
What was it?
So he ran an ad that only ran in like the LA area, and it basically it was him on an iPhone, and he goes, yeah, they gave me 16 mil to shoot a Yeezy.com commercial. And he's like, but I spent them all on these new teeth. And then he like shows like a grill in the iPhone camera. And then he goes, go to Yeezy. He goes like, for like 10 seconds. And then go to Yeezy.com. It was one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Gene Hackman's death, suspicious gas leak, search warrant. Did you hear about Gene Hackman dying?
No.
You didn't know Gene Hackman was dead?
I don't know who that is, but I know that's a celebrity name.
You don't know Gene Hackman? He was the Lex Luthor in the original Superman movies.
Oh, no, I don't know that.
Yeah, he's a famous guy. He apparently was dead for 9 days. And they found him and his wife dead. They found pills all over the floor. They found the dogs in the closet. And I think they found one dog dead. And there's a whole conspiracy around this because like somebody on Wikipedia, I guess, posted like a post about him practicing witchcraft and black magic and stuff like that, or something like that. It's a weird conspiracy that's going around about Gene Hackman's death, and they're investigating
people practicing magic. I'm just gonna say magic to keep it like lighthearted and show you like neutral. It's way more common than you think. And
yeah, of course.
That means
I don't know what the situation with that was. I kind of want to look into that further, and I'm probably gonna.
Like, see, devil. There might be people. There's probably plenty of people worshiping devils and trying to like contact demons and try to work with them.
Yeah, it's just wild that like that happened the same day that he died, or they discovered his death or something like that. But all right. Tennessee serial killer likened to Michael Myers gets 250-year total prison sentence. Well, that sucks for him, but yeah, likened to Michael Myers.
What does he care? You know, if he's like Michael Myers, he's just like this brute who's just murders. I guess yeah, it sucks that he can't murder anymore. But like, what does he care if he's in a room?
I mean, he can still murder if he wants to.
Exactly. What's the problem? Right,
man arrested for. Now I have a home, and I can also murder.
I got all this family now, whom I can murder.
Man arrested for attempting to smuggle cocaine worth $10,000 under his wig. Well, that's just dumb.
That's just real dumb.
The Guardian. This I have a a headline to this headline, or a joke to this headline that someone told me I should use for this. Brazil mayor was shot in fake attack for election boost, but still lost in landslide. It was worth a shot.
Nice.
Jose Aprigio da Silva was seriously hurt in October by assailants with assault rifles, but police say it was faked. As campaign strategies go, it was unorthodox and illegal. Buy an AK-47, hire a pair of phony hitmen, and stage a fake assassination attempt against the mayor that would generate public sympathy and help him win
Jussie
his second term
Smollett.
in power. Yeah, exactly, but on a political scale.
He pulled a Donald Trump Jussie Smollett, but it didn't work out.
Donald Trump.
It leaned more toward Jussie.
Well, we won't get into the Donald Trump one. That Brazilian police claim was the game plan last October when on the eve of the local election, an armored vehicle carrying Jose Aprigio da Silva came under fire in Tabao de Serra, a town on the outskirts of Sao Paulo. Silva, the town's re-election-seeking mayor, was hit in the left shoulder and rushed to intensive care on one of Brazil's top hospitals. His relatives and allies denounced what they called a brazen attempt on his life. What they did was an atrocity. They went there to murder him, the mayor's politician nephew told the local press. Officials, including Sao Paulo's right-wing governor, Tarcísio de Freitas, and the country's left-wing president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, weighed in with messages of outrage and support. This crime must be thoroughly investigated, and those responsible must receive exemplary punishment.
As if he gave them bail, like he bailed them out. The two guys that try to kill him.
That would be hilarious. But this week, the police investigators said they believed.
Come on, guys. Let's go.
Let's put this behind us. This botched homicide was a fraud and launched a series of raids targeting suspected conspirators, codenamed Operation Hidden Fact. The supposed ambush on Silva's vehicle had, police told reporters, actually been a farce engineered by supporters of the 72-year-old mayor. They allegedly hoped the attack would cause an outpouring of sympathy and boost his campaign the days before the vote. Police said evidence gathered as a result of one plea bargain deal suggested Silva's allies had paid 500,000 reais for the duo of bogus shooters to launch their fake strike on his SUV. Just want to say that's about $88,000. It was the mayor himself who asked for them to shoot his car's windscreen, one unnamed witness reportedly told police, although investigators admitted they did not have conclusive evidence proving the mayor's involvement in the ruse. Silva's lawyers denied he had played any role in the alleged hoax and said he was surprised by claims the attacks had been a simulation. Wow. I'm going to stop it there, but that's kind of crazy. Fascinating. What is it?
You should watch this show, especially if you like X-Files. Have you ever heard of the show Evil?
No.
So, you've probably seen clips of it. It blew up once they dropped the first 2 seasons on Netflix. But I think it was originally a CBS show or something, and then it moved to Peacock. But great show. Great show. A lot of people know about it now. There's an episode, I think it's in the 3rd or 4th season, where they go to a super collider. Right? And they're investigating some like weird deaths that keep happening there. And there's straight up demons. Like one of the dudes can see demons, and he's seeing demons. But this other guy who's like supposed to be the skeptic, he's kind of just trying to figure stuff out, and he's like, I forgot exactly how it happens, but he goes into this one room, right? And while they're in this room, he's just like kind of like checking stuff out. This other guy turns on the super collider, and there's one guy who works there is with him. He's like, "Oh shit, get down, get down!" And before he can duck, he pretty much just gets shot right in the fucking third eye by a particle, an accelerated particle. And as soon as it happens, he starts having these crazy flashes in his vision. He just starts seeing all like these crazy hallucinations. And then from then on, he has insane hallucinations, and he's trying to crack it scientifically. He's trying to figure out why he's seeing demons, or as he sees them, jinn. They go into jinn, dude. It's cool.
Almost like Event Horizon a little bit, but with jinn.
I've not seen Event Horizon.
And a particle. Oh, we gotta watch that then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was pretty much it for the headlines. That was the month of February. We'll get into March when it comes. It was a pretty good episode. What you all hear as one episode was probably two separate episodes that I combined into one. And we're probably going to do that every month. We're going to go through like a list of headlines and interesting things that happened. Yeah.
A little more energy. Say it again.
What you all heard was a list of headlines through the month of February. We're probably going to be going through every month a list of headlines, and that just pertain to each month. We're probably just going to, we're probably going to do that every month. Now, I don't even know what I said before, but it was perfect before.
Man, it's perfect now.
You're right. Like the energy is great now, but the what I was saying before was like so like it was on it. I'm gonna keep both of them, and I'm not even gonna edit
the same amount of
this.
uhs and ums. Don't worry.
You had the same amount of uhs and ums. Well, that's good, I guess. They say that when you say and a lot, it's a sign of intelligence, right?
They say
Isn't
a lot
that
of
what
things
they
are a
say?
sign of intelligence.
Yeah, they do. They say swearing is so like fuck.
They say being messy.
Well, I'm super messy, so I must be a fucking genius.
So they say.
So they say. What else do they say causes intelligence? Or is a sign of intelligence? Causes intelligence. Ginseng. What else? What do they say as a sign of intelligence?
Genetic manipulation, like we were talking about.
Well, that does cause intelligence.
That causes intelligence.
We were talking about that very briefly. I didn't read